Saudi Arabia, the royal family, they have everything and nobody else has anything. Al-Wahid, the 13th richest man in the world, buys a new Airbus for $300 million and then makes it into apartments in a small plane traveling intercontinental, 8,000 gallons one trip. That's 32,000 liters. Now 1 liter, 30 baht in Thailand. And in California, 3.8 liters is $4 US, the same. But in Thailand, most people make 35 baht 1 hour. In Laos, you make $500 for 1 year. In Burma, Myanmar, you make $250 for 1 year. The price of energy goes up 5 times overnight. They're criminals. They rob the resources, and in Myanmar, the richest country in Asia before World War II. Laos, the most bombed country in the world. Thailand, Muslims missing from the south. And then when not have husbands, arrest 2,000 wives for being insurgents. The south of Thailand is 80% Muslim, next to Malaysia. Should be autonomous, or you cannot kill everybody and change the history books. Now in the U.S. is a problem, no documentation loan. You don't show your tax return, you walk into the banker and say, hey, I'm rich, I want to buy 3 houses or 1 house. And the banker said, here, sure. That's fraud if you lied. But now is legal because they did Nina loans. No income, no assets. You walk into the banker, say, I want $1 billion. The banker says, sure, here. And it ends up being a debt to the rest of the people. The currencies go down. The euro opened 4 years ago at 10% less than the dollar. Now is 1.5 times the dollar. A dollar is down to 75 cents. The working people always the ones that suffer. Do not have health care in the U.S. But Cuba, they make $1 a day and have a doctor in every block in Havana. Chavez, Castro, Bolivia, now socialists. And Bush spent $1,800 million from the U.S. border this way last year. $700 million went to Colombia. They've been running cocaine there, and the president's brother is implicated in the death squads. In Afghanistan, I think they drove out the English in the turn of the century, and then the Russians went in there and got their ass kicked, and now the U.S. went in there, #1 producer of heroin. Never have they grown so much opium. They don't spray it with paraquat. Give me a break. You go in, you set up the president in Afghanistan, you go in, set up the president in Iraq. It's not for democracy, it's for oil. It's colonialism. It's imperialism. I study in a private school because my grandparents come from Vienna on my father's side, Croatia from my mother's side, to America to make a better future for their children. My parents, I'm third generation. You don't have a middle class in America anymore. Cannot go anywhere for opportunity, huh? Now, everything's too expensive in Germany, and everything's cheaper in the U.S. Every day, New York and Wall Street, you can't keep up with recessions, inflation, deflation, the Great Depression, 1929. In October, the stock market crashed. And within 3 years, the Dow Jones index of leading industrials went from 100 to 17 cents on the dollar. For 10 years, the world's in a depression. When rich people in New York can buy one picture for $30 million, can build houses in the Hamptons, 100,000 square feet, something's wrong, and history repeats itself. In 10 years, 1,000 reporters have been killed. They don't like the message, kill the reporter. You cannot bomb Lebanon, the electricity, the water, the bridges, the infrastructure. You cannot spray Vietnam with Agent Orange or Paraquat. You cannot mine the Golan Heights. You cannot mine the world. You cannot pollute the world. You cannot pollute the oceans. You cannot pollute the atmosphere. And you can't lie about it. Use solar power. Use I don't know, hydroelectric power. Quit using so much petroleum. And you can use natural gas. Where I'm born in Alaska, we have a lot of it. You don't need to make the price of corn double where their staple is tortillas. You don't need to make the price of wheat double in 1 year. You don't need to make the price of rice go up 20%. When people make $1 one day, it's hard in the USA where you make $5.50 an hour minimum wage in Mississippi. Only the rich get richer and only the poor get poorer. And then you have wars. Spend the money on health care. 30 million people have infected with HIV. When women have HIV and the T-cell count goes below 10,000, then have AIDS. You give them antiviral medications, the T-cell goes back up. When they have babies, the baby doesn't have AIDS. HIV medication in the USA is 4,000 US 1 month, 50,000 a year. You can't afford HIV medication, antivirals in the third world.